Hi, this is Jason Thompson with POS Lifeline and microspOStraining.com. Today we're going to be talking about shoppers and spotters. This is a bonus part of our video series on theft. So before we dig in, let's quickly define the difference between the two. A shopper is someone who you bring into your business to evaluate the entire customer experience, whereas a spotter is someone that is brought in specifically to look for theft or other practices that shouldn't be happening behind the bar. When you're looking to bring in either a shopper or a spotter, there are a number of questions that you should be asking. First, what's the level of the reporting that they're going to do? And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. Second, and this is a really important one, what's the experience of the actual shopper or spotter? How many years have they worked in the restaurant industry or in bars or nightclubs for that matter? How accomplished were they? Were they fast? Were they a high ringer? What makes them an expert with regards to their observations? Now, these might seem like unusual and sometimes awkward or difficult questions to ask, but they're very important. If you have an untrained shopper or spotter working in your establishment and they misread or otherwise misunderstand what an employee is doing and then report on it inaccurately to you, you as the owner are going to have to wade through the details and make some very difficult decisions that might not necessarily be based on fact. And this is a very uncomfortable situation to be in. This is one of the reasons that a shopper experience is usually a very positive experience, whereas a spotter experience is a lot trickier to deal with. It's a lot more difficult to determine whether or not who to believe. Okay, as an operator, it's very difficult to say, all right, this is my best bartender. Of course, you don't want to believe that he might be stealing from you, but if there's not irrefutable proof, it's a very awkward position to be put into. And we're going to talk about an example with a spotter near the end of the video here today. So let's talk about shoppers first. Shoppers are a tremendous tool that you can use to not only find out what's going on from a customer standpoint in your restaurant, but also to use as a training tool. A lot of people use their friends as shoppers, which is fine. The value in using a professional shopper is the level of the reporting and the level of information that you're going to get. It makes it a much better training tool, as well as giving you a much better picture of what's going on in the restaurant. So what are shoppers doing? Shoppers are looking at all levels of the customer experience, and that starts the moment they walk in the door. They should be reporting on the ambiance. What are the light levels? What are the sound levels? When I'm at the bar or at my table, do I need a candle to read the menu, or is it too bright in the business? The initial experience. This is the initial experience. The first 35 seconds when somebody walks into your business are going to make that experience or could break it. How long until they're approached and taken to sit down or asked to wait at the bar? How friendly is the welcome? Are they cordial? Do they say thank you for coming in? What's the appearance of the host or hostess? How is the host or hostess behaving during times of stress? Is the phone ringing? If it's a self-seating restaurant, has anyone welcomed them and told them to help themselves to a seat? You know, those kinds of things. I mean, it begins at the very beginning, and any shopper should have all of these things in their report. Next thing is server and bartender specific. If they have a seat at the bar first, what's the appearance? What's the attitude? Is the server or bartender rushing you? Are they telling you about specials, answering your questions? Are they asking you, hey, do you have any questions? What's their composure, and what's the perceived knowledge of the server or bartender? The next thing is, are the shoppers looking at times? Are they keeping track of how long it takes for someone to approach them, a server for an initial drink order? Are they taking notes on how long it takes for the drink orders to be fulfilled? How long the kitchen delivery times are? The kitchen delivery times and the drink order times are key elements. They're key metrics in any restaurant business because those really dictate whether or not our customers come back. Also, consistency. If you've got shoppers coming in more than one time, then it's important that we take a look at what our bar product and our kitchen product, whether or not those are coming out consistently. That's another key element of any restaurant that wants to retain its customer base and grow it. Next up is upselling, and this is going to be one especially for the bartender when the customer is sitting at the bar. But if you're doing a shopper, they're probably going to be keying in on one particular server for the night, And this is going to be where you're going to want to know, A, did the server upsell call liquors, bottled wine as opposed to a glass of wine, appetizers before the entrees, entree add-ons, okay, extra sides, after dinner drinks, coffee, and desserts. A tremendous amount of money to be made in desserts, and 9 out of 10 servers forget to ask. So definitely be looking for that. And also, if they're not upselling, you're going to want to know as an operator, how busy was the restaurant at that time? Because you might want to take that into consideration when you're evaluating the report. Okay, that's it for shoppers. Shoppers, like I said, they're a tremendous tool. You know, once you get that report, you can use that report to go over and compare your servers. And then once you've digested that information internally between you and perhaps your partner or your general manager or your management staff in general, then it's a great time to call your staff together and to tell them, hey, you know what? We had some shoppers in the last month or two, and we've got the results, and we'd love to talk with you guys about them. We're really happy with the results, if that's the case, and we want to show you guys what they said. Because in my experience, that has been a very positive way to help your servers get better. Because believe it or not, they do want to be better servers. They want to be better at what they're doing. Let's move on to spotters. And spotters are a breed of a whole different character. Spotters are looking for only one thing. They're looking for theft. Okay, so using the spotter report is, whereas using a shopper report with your staff is usually a positive experience. It's a morale booster. It's a way that they can get better. Using a spotter report with your staff is usually the opposite situation. Usually is a very antagonistical meeting, because basically a spotter is going to try and locate anything that bartender is doing wrong. If there's questions of theft or of misappropriation of money, that's what they're looking for. So when we go to hire a spotter, there are a couple things that you really want to find out about. Are they capable? Number one, what about the environment where the bar might be 2 or 3 deep and the bartender is taking multiple orders? Are they equipped to keep up with the bartender? Do they know how much your drinks cost before they come in the door? Because they need to know how much drinks cost if they're going to be spotting a bartender and looking at the register rings. Understand how they work before you engage them. What kind of information are they going to provide for you? And in return, what kind of information do you need to provide to them before they walk in that door? And then finally, have a plan in place. How will you respond if they catch a bartender or server? At what level will you feel comfortable confronting your bartender with whatever information the spotter gives you? What is their opinion of when the bartender is doing something wrong, as opposed to your opinion of when the bartender is doing something wrong? It's not always black and white. You might allow the bartender to give away a certain amount of comp drinks during the course of the night, and the spotter, if he doesn't know this, is going to be reporting on that. So that's one of the things to take into consideration. And then how will you respond if the bartender denies that there was anything wrong taking place? It's going to be a confrontational situation, and I always stress that as much information as you can have at your disposal when you're dealing with a confrontational situation, the better. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for joining us. As always, if you have any comments, please leave them below or feel free to contact us directly. And as always, this is Jason Thompson saying, cheers to your success.